Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I'll be going over my review of One Piece. Why did I say review weird? My review of One Piece chapter 1151, I Get the Idea. Even though I've read the chapter, I have no idea actually what that refers to. But let's give myself a reminder as we go in, I suppose. And as always, open up the Ogre Child Yamato story continues to go on. Is there an end to it? Who knows? So now we've got her. I'm gonna get a lot of people angry at me for calling her, but yeah. Anyway, Yamato taking part in a sumo contest and kicking this guy's ass. I recognize him, but whatever. Hurling Urashima's big brother Yokozuna Sukune. Well, it's different. So of course we carry on where we left off. Drory and Brogy have obviously been converted into weird demonic giants, along with an army of more regular but still demonic giants. And you've got some of his followers who haven't turned yet, begging them to, trying to reason them get to their senses, but obviously no good. They don't want them to attack Jarul because he's a hero of legend. Okay. But it looks like it has no effect. They see him as old. It's not words they would say, but they're under the influence now, calling Jarul old and feeble, and time to force him into retirement, which, well, we know what that means. So as we see, obviously, that Dory too is saying words he wouldn't normally say. How they don't need the god of Elbaph, Jarul, anymore, and that he and Brogy will be kings and usher in an era of war. They tried to speak sense to these guys, but it's still obviously having no good, and he's warned not to get too close. And we see what might actually be the cause of this demonic flipping. It's a magical board game. I forget what this board game is called. It's not shogi, is it? But it's the one where you have to place counters, and if you do, I never knew how this game works, but if you put them in a specific order, it causes them to flip over. And this is why they're rotating around, and then they come out all demonic. So I guess it's a magical board game that I guess Imu probably generated with the magical book. But yeah, we see the giant foreman who was being flipped over in the previous page has been flipped, and he too now has a demonic appearance. And we see this huge army of demonic giants. It's crazy seeing the contrast between the regular giants and the demonic giants now. It's quite a massive contrast. And they've given up and they're fleeing. And as we see at the bottom here, Ripley's jumping into action. She wants to save Colin. And the children, I thought they woke up, but I guess they got knocked out by the Conqueror's Haki, didn't they? And they are dreaming nightmare creatures again, and we see they're coming out of the nightmare hole. So it's really not looking good for everyone up in the cloud world, do they call it? And of course, as was established in the last chapter, the previous nightmare creatures that were seemingly defeated are just being brought back by killing them pretty effortlessly. So the odds are really stacked against the remaining Elbaph giants. They are not in a good place. And I remember when I read this manga chapter for the first time, I was like, who the hell is this guy here? It's sharp teeth, whatever. Don't recognize him, but obviously an ally of Imu. And then we see at the bottom here, it's Killingham's hybrid form. And certainly not what I was expecting when his full Zoan form seemed to be it's a dragon, right? So, but then his hybrid form's more like a centaur. So that wasn't what I expected at all. So Killingham's hybrid form. So we kind of get to see here, I guess they're playing small parts here, the Straw Hats, but, you know, get to see what Nami, Jinbei... So Nami's kind of pondering about how there's even more demonic creatures. Got Jinbei being, like, rational, and Usopp yelling at Dory and Brogy, starts yelling at them, and, you know, why are they doing this to their homeland? Where is your sense of pride? But yeah, it's useless. And I kind of thought it was funny. There's, you know, got the giants at the bottom who resisted the Conqueror's Haki, and you've got like Bent's mother, or is it Bent and Ilva's mother? Oh no, there's two of them. It's like they're housewife giants, and they're like too angry to have been pass out from Conqueror's Haki. That's a bit of a One Piece humor there. So I guess we get to now see like the what the Holy Knights / Imu are doing. We've got Summers wondering how far they shall go, and Killingham commenting that the board is entirely in their colour, and well, we get a shot of what I guess is essentially their army right now, with all the monsters, the demonic giants, and it looks terrifying. Obviously, we see in the middle what Imu wants to do, that they'll eventually crumble under the weight of their own personal demons, continue until it breaks. Until what breaks is exactly what I was thinking too. And at the bottom we see Imu refers again to, well, they call it the heart of Elbaph. And curiously, they say, this country would have been subjugated years ago if not for Harold's miserable failure. That's the second time Imu's referenced that, obviously before calling it Harold's blunder. It'll be interesting to find out what this refers to, and I'm sure we'll get that information soon. But we go back a few minutes to the underworld, and as we see, it's the aftermath of Chopper jumping off the edge after Gaban and panicking because he didn't think it through. Obviously he can't fly, so not the smartest move. But we see here that I don't know what he's doing here. He just starts running. I don't know if he's just rotating his legs to pick up speed, or if he's actually skywalking like Sanji. Probably not skywalking, because why would he suddenly start skywalking now? It would be cool, though, if Chopper had skywalk, I guess. But he's doing something to get underneath Gaban anyway. And while it's not overly clear here, because it's a very small shot and big landscape, thankfully, they put a bit of speech there just so it's clear what Chopper's doing. He's using guard point to cushion Gaban's fall, but also probably cushioning his own fall because, yeah, that would be a lot of damage for little old Chopper. And he's saving Gaban. So as we see here, Hajurden's still going on about how Loki killed Harold, and we still haven't, found out the truth about that yet. But Luffy also mentions here that he senses Chopper. Well, he says, hey, Chopper just fell down from above. And somebody's saying, hey, I heard something. Did you see him? Nah. So I don't know who's saying what here, but Luffy's definitely the one who says Chopper fell down. I don't know who heard it, though. Maybe Sanji. Don't know who's got the good hearing of them. But yeah, it's not very clear. Because again, small shot. Actually, hang on. Nah, I zoomed in a bit to see if it made clear, but it really isn't. But whatever. One of them, the one who could tell Chopper fell was definitely Luffy. But this is the reason we know it was Luffy who sent Chopper, because in the bottom we see that Luffy ponders, how did he know it was Chopper? And someone else is with him, they're weakened. So he's got some weird sensory ability going on here. I don't know if it's to do with Conqueror's Haki, or what was it, the voice of all things or something that he has, but he could sense Chopper. We've got Road saying that something did seem to come down from above, and we've got Sanji worried about, they've fallen such a long distance, and Zoro saying they should search for them. The one who always gets lost suggests the search, of course. And then we've got Loki here trying to bribe Gerd and Goldberg to taking off his cuffs, but they're having none of it. And just then, somebody calls Loki's transponder snail. Ooh. Turns out, of course, it's this Shaggy character he's been speaking to. I forget the Japanese name people have been using. I don't speak Japanese. I'll just use the English name. So Shaggy, and he's like, I'm busy. Call me back later. And he's saying, I won't take long. I'm busy too. And I've seen people online suggest that Shaggy might be Jarul, and I guess he kind of resembles Jarul. And transponder snails always resemble the person who it's tied to, so it could be. But he also kind of doesn't look like Jarul, so I'm not sure. So while it's not clear what's going on, he appears to be saying some nice things to Loki about the conversations they've been having, how much he enjoyed them. He says, At first I found it frightening, but the more you and I talked, the more our conversations became a source of solace to me. So that's kind of cool. But, Loki kind of picks up that it's sort of out of the blue, very out of character. As we see, obviously, Loki likes this Shaggy character, and is worried by his words, saying he might not be able to call again for a while. It's almost like a farewell. So Loki's concerned and obviously wants to help him. But that's all we're going to glean for now. And it turns out Gerd overheard the conversation and he's like, oh, I'm happy for you. You've got a friend in the underworld. And it just annoys Loki. He's like, don't tell anyone. Don't know why he's so defensive about that. But as we see, they have successfully, and very quickly I might add, found Gaban and Chopper. And thanks to Chopper's timely intervention, Gaban has survived the fall, but he's in a very bad shape. They need Gerd to ready her medical supplies. I love this. Luffy gives Chopper a compliment for saving him, and but Chopper does his usual. You can't compliment me, you jerk. Love Chopper. And I love this. I actually love this panel here where Luffy finds out that Gaban was considered one of the wings of the Pirate King. The third in the pirate crew, and this is his first time hearing about it. It's crazy. Rayleigh never mentioned it, not once. Oh dear, but shocked expression for Luffy. And I also love here that we've got some tropes here, like Luffy realizing he's a member of Roger's crew. It's like, oh, he must know Shanks. And then we've got after the remark of him being the third strongest, Gaban weakly says that he was the second strongest. And my take on this is he was probably the third strongest. I reckon he's probably weaker than Rayleigh. And they probably had a similar dynamic to Zoro and Sanji, where Zoro is clearly stronger than Sanji, but Sanji would never admit to being third behind Zoro. So that's my take anyway. So Gaban, oh god, I need a drink of water or something. Gaban fills them in on what's been happening in the Sun World, which I called the Cloud World earlier, but it's the Sun World. Maybe I'll remember it next time. He fills them in on what's been happening in the Cloud. I just called it the Cloud World again. The Sun World. I'm not going to repeat it because we all know what's going on. But then, interrupting Gaban, there is a strong blast of Haki. And considering this was a few minutes ago, we were following what happened when Chopper jumped off after Gaban. This will be when Imu did a huge blast of, I assume, Conqueror's Haki, which everyone notices and, immediately. And you've got, Gaban not reacting well to it. Oh, and I'm an idiot. I said Gaban was explaining the situation up top. It was Chopper. It was Chopper explaining it. But we end with Hajirden, Luffy, and Loki all realizing what needs to be done. Hajirden says that they must return to the lift. They have to go back to the Sun World. Elbaph's in danger. Luffy's save your breath, Chopper. I get the idea. And I like Loki's the most, that he's recognizing preposterous Haki, and they'll need him after all. I hope they release his cuffs. I want Loki to be doing something. I like the guy. But all in all, a very exciting chapter. And of course, as is tradition, I am a week late again. So I wanted to get this done and edited and put together and uploaded before the new chapter drops tomorrow. And maybe, just maybe, I'll be on time next time. But all exciting chapter. It's all kind of coming together. That board game flippy thing. If someone knows what that's called, let me know in the comments. I'd love to get that right at least. But I wonder if it works on the. I imagine it works on the Straw Hats. Nami, Nami, Robin, Jinbei, Usopp, Brook. Are they all in danger? It'd be a bit terrifying for Luffy to have to fight his own crew. But I'm looking forward to probably the most powerful people still on the good side at the moment, who are stuck in the underworld, jumping up and doing something finally, because it's not looking good up there. But maybe, just maybe, we'll see tomorrow. Until then, thank you all for watching as ever, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!